HelloFresh is a meal delivery service that promises to deliver high-quality meal kits directly to your door. YouTubers have been receiving HelloFresh sponsorships for years now, some even centering entire videos around the product. But we viewers can't help but ask, are those recipes as good as they say? Are they actually easy to make? And most importantly, is it worth the price? Well, today, I, a regular unsponsored YouTube viewer, will give you my honest thoughts on HelloFresh. Hey, my name's Becca, and I watch a lot of YouTube. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but so many YouTubers have been sponsored by HelloFresh over the past few years. And you know, after so many ads, I guess it starts to wear you down, and you're like, okay, fine, I want to know what this product is about. So I finally caved, and Eric and I tried HelloFresh this month. In case you didn't notice from the title of this video, this is not sponsored. I am not a big channel. I'm not having people reaching out to me, asking me to do sponsored content. So like, you can trust me on this one. All the thoughts in this video are going to be 100% my own. But I like to do these videos because I know that sometimes when people are sponsored, sometimes they have to say certain things. Other times, even if they are allowed to say their genuine thoughts, they are probably receiving maybe a bit more of a VIP treatment from the company because they're working for them and the company wants them to have a good time with their product. So I think it's important for people to be able to find a genuine review of these products that comes from the perspective of a regular person. That being said, I do have a few disclaimers before I get into the review. As I said in my ThredUp video, if I'm showing clips from someone who's been sponsored by HelloFresh in this video, it's probably because I'm subscribed to that content creator and I like their videos. So don't get the idea that I'm trying to like bash anyone for getting sponsored. I also know people in real life who use HelloFresh, and again, literally no problem with, my close friends who use this product. Clearly, it's a good product and it works for lots of people, but I want to share my own experiences and what worked and didn't work so well for me. One last disclaimer is I will admit that going into this video, I was skeptical about HelloFresh for two main reasons. One is the price. I went into this video knowing how expensive HelloFresh is, and obviously the price doesn't change throughout the course of the video, but I will say it may have affected the way that I viewed things at times. The other reason is that I'm still not sure how I feel about the environmental impact of these meal kits. Throughout the process of making this video, I've done a bit more research about the sustainability of HelloFresh, and I'll talk more about that at the end. But for now, what you need to know is going into this video, I was a little bit unsure because I felt like I'm going to be creating a lot of plastic and cardboard waste, even if I'm recycling it. A lot of these materials are being made to individually package like one thing of sour cream just for me. So I had a bit of a negative perspective going into this. I tried to remain objective as much as possible, for the sake of science, but it may have subconsciously swayed my opinions at times. Okay, but now that we've been through the boring disclaimer part, let's go ahead and talk about the actual experience that I had with HelloFresh. I picked the smallest possible box with the smallest possible number of meals. It's my husband and me, and we picked 2 meals with 2 servings. We got the veggie box because I'm a vegetarian. That came out to $49.96 plus $8.99 for shipping, so it was $58.95 for 4 meals. We're not going to comment on the price yet. Some other information that I gathered during this process of ordering. I thought that the selection process was very, very easy. I thought it was great. They made it clear how many servings you were getting, what your price per meal was, like throughout the process. It's very obvious how much you're going to be spending. And then you get to the section where you get to select your meals. It tells you how long it takes to make each meal. It makes sure that you know that there aren't like any allergens in them. It was super fast, which was really nice. So what I saw first were the 6 vegetarian options. And I liked all the vegetarian options. I'm your typical vegetarian. I've been doing this for like 10 years. I know what I like. However, I am married to a non-vegetarian, and it was hard for us to agree on 2 dishes out of the 6 options that we could both eat. So that's something to keep in mind if you are from a mixed vegetarian family. It could be tricky to pick your meals each week. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what we wound up getting. So the first meal that we picked was actually not vegetarian, it's a pescatarian one, and that's the teriyaki ginger salmon. And this one was easy. We were both like, that sounds good, we want that one. But then we looked through all the vegetarian options, and everything that sounded good to me, he was like, no, I don't want portobello mushrooms, I don't want eggplants, this and that. And then of course the things that would have sounded good to him were meat. So we wound up settling for this crispy chickpea tabbouleh bowls. And it said that our ingredients would arrive on Friday. And then on Thursday, this happened. What just came in the mail?
HelloFresh.
It's our HelloFresh box. It's supposed to come on Friday, but it's here now, clearly, as you can see. Points for, what's that called? Efficiency, I guess? Punctuality.
Yeah, sure.
Very punctual. Good job, HelloFresh. I think the fact that it came early has its pros and cons. On the one hand, of course it's nice when something gets here early. It shows that they're on top of things and they're being punctual, but at the same time, it's food. You know, like, people get food on certain days because they plan to cook it on certain days and you don't want your food to go bad. Like, a lot of this stuff is fresh ingredients. So it can be kind of a problem if stuff gets here too early. But more on that later. For now, I'm going to go into the details of each meal that we made, starting with the teriyaki ginger salmon. So we made this meal on Friday, if I recall correctly, and it said the prep time is 10 minutes and the cook time is 40 minutes. I was pleasantly surprised. I think we actually finished it in a little less than that. It was definitely easy to make, and I will say, although I was skeptical about the pre-portioned ingredients and how much packaging that was going to use, it is really convenient. You know, it's nice when you know, like, okay, I just need to use all the rice they gave me instead of having to measure out the rice. So that did save time, I'll admit. And I think the fact that Eric and I both were working on this one also probably helped save time as well. Some slight negatives: we had to grate the ginger and zest the lime, and I don't like using my grater. It's so annoying to clean, and for this it was fine. But then, in this recipe, I was also using my grater. I was like, geez Louise, if I'm gonna use HelloFresh, I'm gonna have to buy an actual, like, zester instead of, like, one of those four-sided graters, because they're just annoying to clean. That's a personal problem, but that was one slight drawback, very slight. A couple other slight hitches. The salmon definitely took longer than it said to cook. So it says that you're gonna spend 5 to 7 minutes on one side and 1 to 2 minutes on the other side. It said to put it on a medium-high heat. And maybe my definition of medium-high is lower than theirs, or maybe my oven is not, like, powerful enough, but we definitely had to go a bit longer on the salmon. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just not quite accurate. The one that turned out maybe a little, had a negative effect, was the rice. I think, again, my definition of a low simmer was a bit too high. All the water was gone, like, way before 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, and I took a quick bite and it seemed done. And I was like, okay, great. It was not done. It was not done. I don't know why it tasted fine when I took a taste test. That's maybe a bit of user error. For me, like, a low simmer is like level 2 or 3, not like low. If you want me to put it on the lowest setting, say the lowest setting, or say like on low heat. But overall, the cooking process was pretty enjoyable and the fish itself was friggin' delicious. Let's see what Eric and me from the past have to say about this meal.
Yay, fish food. I think it looks pretty good.
It looks great.
I'm proud of the plating.
Yeah. I think the rice could have been cooked a little longer.
Yes, I know the rice was bad. It was my fault. I'm sorry.
These carrots are interesting.
Right? They taste like sweet potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good.
Yeah, I mean that in a good way.
I'm not normally a big carrot person, but, like, these carrots were really good. Like, they kind of tasted like sweet potatoes. Like, I feel like I've heard the phrase sweet potato carrots before. I Googled it and I can't find this, but I feel like there's like a breed of carrot that tastes like a sweet potato. I don't know what they're called, but that's what these were, and they were really good.
I'm gonna try the fish without the lime.
Oh, good idea.
Fish is great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I really like that sauce.
Mm-hmm.
The fish itself was really good, even if we had to cook it a little longer than the recipe said, and I was a huge fan of the sauce. And Eric was a huge fan of the pickled scallions.
The quick pickles are good. Quick
That
pickles,
one.
if you will.
But what did we think of the meal overall?
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to think in like comparison to other meals that we would make at home. Part of me thinks this might be a 5 actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't normally make...
We don't normally make meals this structured.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with a meat or a protein, a grain, and a veg. We usually don't do that.
I really like this. I would give this a 5 out of 5.
I would give it a 5 out of 5 too.
Really?
Yeah, actually. I was concerned about the portion sizes because it didn't look like there was a lot of rice. The carrots, I remarked, didn't seem like there were a lot. And the salmon, they only gave us one salmon fillet, but when
It
you
was
cut
actually-
it in half.
I didn't cut it in half.
Oh.
It was just kind of squished together in the packaging.
Oh, okay.
I won't say the amount is great for the amount of money that we spent, but it is a satisfying meal. It's not
Yes.
like because we got the smallest possible option, we got like ripped off. Yeah, and I guess now, in the future, you guys are gonna see the next meal. Woo! So, we wanted to do this yesterday. It's Monday. You'll recall that we got our box a day early on Thursday, which is nice, but also it means that, you know, it's Monday and these veggies are like, they're on their last legs, which is just a thing like anytime you buy any vegetables. Eric was gonna help me, but he's gonna be getting home around the time that I'm going back to work. So, you know, this is my video. I don't want this to look sexist or anything, but this is my thing. So I feel like I should be the one to, you know, prepare everything. So I'm making an early dinner and it'll be ready for him when he gets home, just like it's like 1950. So that'll be fun. Like I said, we waited until like Monday to make this recipe. So if it's not great, HelloFresh can't be held entirely responsible for the fact that we, you know, waited until the veggies were not so great. That being said, maybe getting the ingredients for 2 big fancy meals with lots of produce on the same day when you don't like to cook all the time, maybe that's not that practical. So,
Okay, as past me said, the second meal that we made were these crispy chickpea tabbouleh bowls, and it was okay. I will say it was also easy to make, although I did have to get the grater out again to zest more limes, and I was like, I'm gonna have to rinse this grater for the rest of my life. But I did make one change to the recipe. I like to roast chickpeas myself, and when I do, I like a good crispy chickpea. When I roast them, I don't want them to be too soft. So I roasted these for, what does it suggest? 18 to 20 minutes. I probably did about like 24 because I wanted them crispy. But other than that, I followed the recipe pretty much to a T, and it turned out pretty good. Eric and I had to eat separately that night, again, just because our schedules were not working out that week. So here are our separately recorded reactions.
It's good. I've never had tabbouleh before. It, very light, just the right kind of tanginess, just the right kind of savory.
as I was tasting, like while I was cooking, I was like, this is really salty. And the whole thing is really salty. I think part of it is maybe I put a little too much salt on the chickpeas themselves. But then like the bulgur also called for salt. And when I made like the dressing that I put on top, like that has salt in it. It's just like, there were so many times where they said salt, and sometimes they said, we used a 1/4 teaspoon. But then other times it was just like salt.
It was salty.
And it's really good with this, the white sauce they have with it. It's like kind of like a, not exactly a tzatziki sauce, but kind of, I guess.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't like the dressing that much. I've never been a huge fan of like tzatziki white Greek dressing that much. So that's just a personal taste.
Yeah, I was not a huge fan of the dressing. I think past me said like I would use less dressing. Honestly, looking back, I probably would just use no dressing and maybe sprinkle just the feta on top.
It's crunchy in some places. I think that's where like some of the chickpeas got cooked more than the others, or maybe they weren't cooked enough. Like maybe they were dried and then rehydrated, or the other way around. I don't know.
Okay, the inconsistent crunchiness of the chickpeas is on me, but I like crispy chickpeas. It says crispy chickpeas on the thing.
But overall it's good. I mean, you can't tell that we waited 4 days to make it. Like none of the veggies are like gross. Man, I swear there is something funky about it. Oh yeah, it's the feta. I actually love feta cheese. I just keep forgetting it's in there, so I'm like, whoa, that tastes weird. Oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I would say this one is not as impressive to me as the fish. This one, you know how Eric and I were saying we don't normally make like balanced meals with like rice and a veggie and a main course. This is more like, I mean, like this is literally something I make. I love to make roasted chickpeas and then I put them on top of quinoa instead of bulgur. But like this is literally a recipe that I make. I just make mine, you know, I season mine more the way I like it. I normally do like a Southwestern vibe with like chickpeas, peppers and onions, fewer ingredients, and just the seasonings that I like, and I put it on top of quinoa.
And again, what were our overall impressions?
I would say if I didn't salt it too much, I'd give it like a 4 out of 5. And I think part of it's just personal taste. That dill is really good though. I could probably put more dill in here. I feel like right now, it's like a 3. If I were to like continue with HelloFresh, I'd be happy to do this recipe again, but I wouldn't follow the exact recipe that they gave me. Yeah, I think at its peak potential, I'd give it like a 4 out of 5, which is not bad.
I would probably rate this like a 4 out of 5. The reason it's not like a 5 out of 5 is, well, I don't know. I can't really think of a good reason. I just feel it in my heart.
So yeah, I'm glad we agreed. I feel like I had more awareness of why I was giving it 4 out of 5 stars, whereas Eric was just like, this just doesn't hit like the fish. I don't know why. I think the biggest thing for me is I already make a meal like that. So like, why would I spend $12 per serving when I have like a bag of dried chickpeas downstairs that I bought for $5 and it's gonna last me like a year? We could have realized, this is kind of similar to something that Becca makes. Maybe we should try something a little different. But again, with the lack of vegetarian and pescatarian recipes, it was kind of one of our only options. So that's what we wound up doing. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I just am not sure if I would order that recipe again. All right, so that was our initial experience with HelloFresh. Overall, there were definitely some positives. I feel like I learned a lot from just cooking these 2 meals, like especially with the fish. Normally when Eric and I make fish, we'll like marinate it overnight and like really we're like, oh yeah, we're incorporating the flavors because it's marinating. It always ends up just sort of tasting like fish. The flavors that we marinated it in don't stand out a ton. This taught me that marinating your fish is like a whole extra step. It takes like a whole night of marinating, and literally it's easier to just make a sauce and it tastes better. I also learned about, ingredients that I hadn't really tried before. That harissa powder that went in the bulgur. Also, bulgur was new to me, although I didn't see a huge difference between that and quinoa. I'm not like, I have to have more bulgur. But the harissa powder was really good. Had like a bit of a kick and like a smokiness. Like, it was good. It was kind of like paprika. Like, if paprika actually had a taste, that's what paprika like should taste like. Am I the only one who can't taste paprika? I'm like, why do people put paprika in things? It tastes like you're licking a blanket. Like, it just doesn't taste like anything. And dill, I haven't really put fresh dill in very many things. I don't really know what to put dill in, but it worked really well with this like Mediterranean chickpea sort of thing. And I'm like, okay. And that's just from 2 meals. Each meal taught me something that I can apply in the future when I cook, and I appreciate that. I also felt accomplished. Normally, each week, I probably cook like 1 nice meal, and then throughout the week, we just kind of eat the leftovers, and I'll have like canned soup or something, nothing that fancy, right? So normally I make like 1 meal a week. The week that we did HelloFresh, we had the salmon, the tabbouleh bowls, and I had to make this curry because we had these ingredients that were gonna go bad, and I was like, okay, even though I've already made 2 meals this week, we have to do this or we're gonna have food waste, and food waste is bad. That's what HelloFresh is trying to teach us. So I wound up making 3 meals in 1 week. I don't know, I like patted myself on the back a little bit. And especially with the fish one, it was just kind of like a fun little date. Like, I feel like that's what HelloFresh is to me. It's like a fun date. Cooking with your significant other can be stressful sometimes. This one, at least our first experience, was really fun. We didn't run into each other at all. Everything was, nice and pre-portioned, and it was just like super easy for both of us to kind of do our steps, and it was nice. Oh, I didn't write this on my overall pros, but also overall pro, it's really tasty. I mean, it is like, it's restaurant level. But, there are some drawbacks, and I think the biggest one for me is price. And, I know that the more you order, the cheaper it gets per serving. But when you're a small family, both of you work, you don't really have time to cook more than twice a week. I mean, some people do. Like, it's fine. Like, you prioritize your life the way you want to. But Eric and I we don't cook that much. HelloFresh is all about we are reducing food waste. I'm pretty sure if we ordered that much HelloFresh, we would be increasing our food waste because we just wouldn't have the time to cook those meals. So it doesn't make sense for us to go through that just to have a slightly lower price per serving. So what we do have is $12 per serving. HelloFresh said at one point on their website, it said save 30% on groceries. Like as if using HelloFresh, you're gonna save money. And that's hilarious to me. Even like, I looked at the cheapest possible option earlier. The cheapest possible option is you have like a family of 4 and you get 6 meals. And it's $7.49 per serving. That's still a lot. And I have a point of comparison because about a year ago, Eric and I did a video about our favorite recipes. And in the video, I said how much per serving the recipe cost. And let me go look at our most expensive recipe. So the price is $30 to $35 depending on how expensive you want to get with like your cheese and how expensive produce is. I said $30 to $35 and it makes 4 to 6 servings. So let's go with the most expensive possible, right? $35, and we eat as much as we can. We eat 4 servings. 35 divided by 4, $8.75. That's like the most expensive thing that Eric and I make is like $1 more than the cheapest HelloFresh meal. And of course, if we did like the cheapest possibility, it would be 30 divided by 4, which would be like about $7. So yeah, for me, the price is a big drawback. If you're a bigger family, maybe this doesn't faze you as much. But for me personally, it's not saving money at all. In fact, it's a lot more than we usually spend on groceries. Okay, and the big thing that I was like really skeptical when I was going in is HelloFresh actually good for the environment? I did a bit more research, and a lot of the sources that I found were pointing to this same study. And in this study, they compared the emissions of 5 meals from meal kits and 5 meals, like the same meal, from grocery stores. And they found that 4 out of 5 of the meal kit meals had fewer emissions than their grocery store equivalent. That being said, a lot of their reasoning for why the grocery store options were less environmentally friendly came back to this idea of food waste. And from my interpretation of the study, it seems like they're really banking on this idea that like people are throwing away like a lot of the food that they get. Like they said, 20 to 30% of the food that we make in America is wasted. 10% is, before it even reaches the consumer. And I think that's a big problem. And probably meal kits are doing things to combat that. And I think it's great. As for the rest of that, that other 10 or 20% that's at the consumer level, a lot of our food waste is because we will buy mostly fruits and veggies that we think we're going to use for like snacks or something. And that's something that we can be more conscious of. What we really need is a way to buy cuties in a bag that doesn't have 20 cuties in it. I don't need 20 cuties. In terms of making actual recipes and meals like what HelloFresh provides, we're normally pretty good about knowing, exactly how much we need, or if we need to cut a certain recipe in half because it makes like 8 servings and we don't need that much. So for me personally, I don't know how much HelloFresh would help me lessen my environmental impact. The other thing that they brag a lot about this, all our packaging is recyclable, and that's great. But many of the things I know are not going to actually be accepted by my recycling company. And, maybe where HelloFresh is based, probably in California, maybe their recycling companies are a little more accepting. But, they gave us like sour cream in these little squeezy packs. And like, those are hard to rinse out. And I don't think that my recycling company is going to say, oh yes, this tiny little square with sour cream all over it, we can recycle that. Sometimes really small recyclables don't get taken by a recycling company. And I know that that's a big problem. Over-recycling can actually cause recycling programs to be less effective. So that's something else to consider. Again, I'm not like an expert on this environmental stuff, but I think it's important to be critical. And of course, if you guys know more information about the environmental impact of HelloFresh and meal delivery services in general, Let me know in the comments. Like, I'm genuinely curious about this, and I'm not trying to say like HelloFresh is bad, right? I'm just being critical. But to me, it does seem like they're trying to do a lot, and it's great. A lot of the stuff was very easy to recycle. Like, the whole box collapsed easily. You could even recycle the freezy packs. Just trying to say, do your research on the environmental impact. All right, I like to end these videos by giving the product a rating out of 5. And as a teacher, I can't just say, okay, you got this many stars, but each star represents something so that you guys know why it earned this score. So we have a star for ease of use, customer service, price, quality, and accuracy. For ease of use, I'm gonna give HelloFresh the full star. Their website is very easy to use, it's easy to order food, the recipes are easy to make, it's all around very easy. And yeah, it's great. That's really all there is to say about ease of use. It's nice and easy. For customer service, I will also give them 1 star. They were easy to unsubscribe to. I didn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops. It's very easy to say, yes, I want back in, or no, I don't, or I want to skip this week. For me, that's part of the customer perspective is, how much do I feel obligated to continue with this company? And they don't really make you feel obligated. It feels like it's your own decision whether or not you want to continue buying HelloFresh. That being said, they do send quite a few emails. Like, when you get a meal, they're like, rate your meals, how were they? Oh, it's time for you to order again. Okay, do you want to, we see you skipped this week. Like, it's just like lots of emails. I would say not enough for me to take off half a star. Overall, it was a good experience. Just a little, could use fewer emails, thanks. For the price, I'm gonna go ahead and give them 0 stars. This may seem a bit harsh. I'm basing this off my own experience. I'm in a family with just 2 people. We don't have a ton of money to spend on groceries every week. It's just way too much, especially considering that they advertise that you can save 30% on groceries. I'm like, where? Where? What kind of groceries are you originally buying? Another way to think of it is like, if you want to spend the amount that you would pay while eating at a restaurant, but actually go through the effort to make it yourself, like, that's HelloFresh. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said earlier, like, you can view it as like a date night sort of thing, A lot of people look forward to their HelloFresh stuff, but for me personally, it's too expensive for the amount of work that I still have to put in. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely not saving me money on groceries. I think that's the real kicker, is the fact that they're saying save money on groceries, and I'm like, that's like false advertising, man. To be more positive, I would give them a full star for quality. The meals were very high quality. The shipping was nice and fast. Maybe that's more of a customer service end. But either way, the quality and customer service all around, it was all great. I mean, we even took like 5 days to cook that second meal, and the veggies were still good. We put just everything in the fridge. We didn't bother, separating, okay, this should be in the fridge and this should not. We just left it in the brown bag in the fridge, and nothing went that bad. A couple things were a little wrinkly, but not like to the point where they tasted weird. I would say it's high quality stuff, so definitely 1 star for quality. And lastly, we have the accuracy star. Am I getting what's been advertised to me? And I would say like half a star for accuracy. They advertise, a high quality meal kit. It's gonna cut down on your food waste. It gets shipped right to you. It's very easy. And they're gonna save you money on groceries. It's apparently something that they advertise. And I agree with half of those things. So overall, I'd give HelloFresh 3.5 stars. I'm probably not going to order another meal kit anytime soon, but it was a fun experience. But I'm not the only person with an opinion, so please let me know about your experiences with HelloFresh in the comments below. Seriously, I only experienced this for a week, so I could definitely be missing a lot of the pros and cons of this company. And let me know what else I should review next. I'm really enjoying these videos where I get to review common YouTuber products. So if there's something that you would like to see me try, please let me know also in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I put videos out every other Friday about music, media, linguistics, and whatever else is on my mind that week. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.